regular meeting for the Piqua School Board of Education to order. Mr. Hiddle, please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Hiddle, please call the roll.
Mr. Patrizio.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mrs. McMacken.
Here.
Mr. Bostic.
Here.
Mr. Height.
Here. Okay, you've had a chance to review the minutes from the July 24th regular board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to that minutes? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and is there any changes to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and I have nothing on hearing of the public, so we'll go right to the treasurer's agenda here.
Good evening. A couple things. I attended a couple meetings on the state budget and what it's looking like for Piqua City Schools as well as the rest of the state of Ohio. All school districts have been put on a funding freeze for 2 years. So whatever they earned in FY19, they'll get in FY20 as well as FY21. There's some new additional money that has been set aside for student wellness and success funds, and the district will be receiving some of those, but those have to be spent on mental health services, services for homeless, services for child welfare-involved youth, community liaisons, physical health care services, mentoring programs, family engagement, City Connects programming, professional development regarding trauma-informed care, professional development regarding cultural competence, student services provided prior to or after school day or anytime school is not in session. So it's a very prescribed what has to be spent on, and you have to work with a local partner like an ESC, mental health board, a hospital, and there's a whole list of those things. So we do have some help for wraparound services, but as far as the budget goes, there's no help to
So did they increase
pay the bills.
the 19 to 20? Was there an increase for this year?
No, we're
Same as last year's level as far as from state funding?
state funding for general operating expenses is frozen for 2 years based off of FY19.
Okay. But then you
Well,
have
we were
the
still at
other
the cap,
service.
mind you, so we didn't even get paid what the formula said we should have gotten paid, and then we got froze on that lower amount. For the next 2 years, it'll be the same number.
So how much additional do you think you're going to get from the wraparound services?
Well, it says the first year is going to be about $850,000.
Okay.
You got to remember that we don't have $850,000 worth of wraparound services that we're currently providing. We can use that money over an extended period of time. It could be 5 years or whatever we determine it to be, but that money can't be used to pay general expenses. So it's not. It's a very restricted account. So it's more money, but it's not more usable money.
What are we providing currently that can be used as wraparound services?
We're meeting on that to see what we can do. Some of the new behavioral interventions that we're doing is going to be one of those factors involved in that. The caution to this is when you attach a human being to that, how do we pay for them in the long run? This money may last a year, it may last 2 years. I mean, there's a new funding formula bill already in the House, so this could last and be a 1-year deal, and it could change 1 year from now. So you can't bank on this staying the way that it is. That's the problem. How stable is this funding going to be? So it's just something to keep in mind. We're working on it. ODE doesn't have any guidance for us. Our first payment won't be here until sometime late October, and hopefully by then we have some more guidance on what we're supposed to do. But we're going to start ahead of time and start figuring out what our plan is going to look like. So anyways, that's just something to keep in mind as we're looking forward, and when you see the next 5-year forecast in October, it will take into account that our state funding has been flatlined.
Jeremy, does
So this money could be spread out over multiple years.
Correct. So the good news is, and that was one of my first questions, Aaron Rauschitz, he's the budget director at Ohio Department of Education. He's a Capital alumni. I've known him, went to school with him. So I get to ask him those kind of questions without him getting too upset. But it was basically like, by the time we get this money, it's going to be October. By the time we get a plan in place, it could be the end of 2019. Do you want us to have a real, actual competent plan that actually is going to do something? Or do you want us to hurry up and get it spent? Because in the past, we've gotten ARA funding and stuff like that where you just got to hurry up and spend it because the government says it needs to be spent by this date. And he says, no, you have, and we would like it to be sooner rather than later, but there isn't going to be a guideline as for how long you have to take to spend it. He's like, if it's a 5-year plan, that's okay. Take 5 years to spend it. So that's what we're going to look at doing.
Is it going to increase next year, or do you get the same 850,000?
It will increase a little bit. It'll be closer to $1 million next year if the formula stays in place.
And
Does that free up other budget dollars someplace else, or is?
It could, depending on what the plan is, and again, but then for how long?
And so if we, for example, if we don't have anything in place until near the end of the year, next year, if they give the next amount, we don't have to have this first year spent. We could still have it and be working on how we're going to implement it.
Correct.
Have you received any word on the reevaluation of the properties in the county at this point?
So, no, I have not. I have not gotten any of those notifications for board revision. I will tell you that our property tax settlement came in, and again, it was down this year. It was down about, exactly $27,317.38. A lot of that deals with the change in the Walmart valuation. They asked for a significant reduction. So that was one of my things I was going to discuss, is that we did get our income tax money. It was up $147,283. So you take that against the loss in property value collections, and we're up $119,976 on local income or local taxes. Are there any questions about any of the reports that you guys had? That's all I had. The other thing that's on my agenda is to approve the tuition rate for Piqua City Schools. Again, this is only if somebody's going to come from out of state, because we have open enrollment here at Piqua, so that doesn't seem to matter. And I don't know that somebody's going to drive from Indiana or Michigan or Kentucky to be here, but it's $5,564.46.
And that's set by the state. That's not set by us.
Correct. Yes, we get issued this number.
How do
every
they
year.
arrive at that?
This is the base pupil amount before they do anything else to it. And then it changes. That's why it depends on the percentages they add on top for different needs.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions for Jeremy? Okay, if not, do we have a motion to approve his the treasurer's agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Jeremy. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. Good evening. Just a quick update on the start of the year. We did have a great start. Last Thursday, we had Professional Development Day for all of our teachers and staff, and I thank our curriculum department and cabinet members who put that together. We did some new training this year called Stop the Bleed. In the past, we've done our ALICE training, but Stop the Bleed would be a response if there were any kind of a situation. Sometimes you can't get the medical people into the location because there might still be an imminent threat. So what can staff do to help keep people alive, basically? So really good training for our staff, as well as some other things that we did. On Friday then, we had our first work day and our opening day, where we kicked off with the staff our opening speeches. Our teacher of the year gave a really nice speech, and then they went into their classrooms to work. Indian Days were last year. They were very successfully attended, and then Monday was our first day with students. A few numbers. We're just under 3,500 students, so it's about average for where we are right now. We have 269 seniors. Last year we had 250, and our average class size is 265. Our largest classes are at the junior high. They're in the 280 range right now. We have over 2,500 students riding the bus. We have about 1,850 students eating school lunch at this time, and over 700 students in grades 7 through 12 that are participating in some type of a fall extracurricular activity, and those numbers are up. Our fall sports are going really well. Volleyball and tennis in particular are having a winning season already, and I think volleyball's playing Sydney tonight, aren't they? But they're doing really well, so a big game for them. August 30th will be our first district-wide Red and Blue Piqua Indian Gear Spirit Day district-wide, so we're encouraging all of our students to come decked out for that. And one final reminder to parents to get the forms updated on the School One View. If they go to our website in the top right-hand side, they can click on that. It's all electronic, very easy, and we need that information because that's all of our emergency contact information. So we want to make sure parents update those forms and get those completed by August 30th. So if anything were to happen, we would have all the proper contact information for students. Any questions about the opening of the school year? All right, to kick us off with our building focus, we have our two primary buildings. They've been working very hard at trying to be in sync with each other because we want students to get the Piqua experience, and if they go between the buildings, we want to make sure kids are getting the best of the best. So Mr. Ross Laudenbach from Spring Creek, the principal, and Ms. Tracy Troglin is from Washington. They would like to share together a little bit of some of their work.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Good evening, everybody. So yeah, as he was saying, we have done a lot of collaboration over the summer in the last 2 years, and we thought it'd be a good idea to present some of the things that are happening in our building, the core components to our building. So both buildings are very focused on the whole child. That focus has been there, but that's something we're going to continue on. And you know, our new push to have all students bound for success or success bound. So the pieces that we talked tonight are those big pieces, those core components that we're striving to make that happen. So the whole child is an academic, social, emotional wellness focus. So the first one we'll talk about is wellness. We have some cool new initiatives coming into play. I think PCIS kicked it off with some Motivational Mondays a few years back. We're going to kind of tailor off them and do the same thing in our buildings. So again, with that being a wellness push, we are going to have students on Mondays. We're going to be focusing, not just students, but staff's going to be focusing on physical fitness and overall wellness for students. That's going to help with physical, mental, and social, emotional, behavioral, and academic overall well-being. There's a lot of research that pushes that. When students are active and moving in the classroom, it can really help the overall performance, not just academically, but just, again, overall. So that's something that we want to do. We want to make it a priority in our buildings that we're teaching and modeling these good habits. That's part of that success-bound push, is teaching these habits and integrating that into students' lives. Another piece is our teachers. We're going to focus specifically on Mondays, 15 to 20 minutes of some type of physical exercise. So the teachers will be doing that with the students in the classroom. They have free reign to go somewhere in the building to do that, but just again, the idea is to build those good habits. Our gym teachers are going to be focusing and practicing and discussing the importance of being physically fit in PE classes, just so that the students can start understanding what the benefits are for daily living with building on those habits. So Tracy's going to continue the wellness piece.
Okay, so one of the things that we're going to be doing to continue on with the wellness this year is the buildings ourselves. We're going to provide the birthday treats for the kids. It used to be that parents used to bring in treats and snacks for the kids. We're going to provide a cookie and a pencil to each child. We're going to do it once a month, and we'll call them down together. Some of the thought behind that is, you know, some kids bring treats, some kids don't. A lot of kids have allergies and different things, so some parents may overdo it and bring too many treats, so we're just trying to keep it, you know, a moderate treat for the student and a pencil. We're going to take care of that at the building. Also, our parties at Indian Days, parents were able to sign up for our class parties. We have, I think, 3 a year. 1 sweet item, 1 salty item, and 1 drink. That way the kids are going to get a treat. It has to have the actual label on it from the store, so the nurse can check it for allergies. But it also is, you know, kids aren't leaving with, you know, 6 cupcakes and 4 juice boxes and stuff like that. It's keeping it, you know, to a minimum, but still allowing the treat to happen. Along with that, we are doing social emotional. He touched on for PAX this year. We have Charles Wilkins, who is our PAX partner. He is going to come into the classrooms and help the teachers learn the 10 strategies that they need to know for the PAX program. Last year, we both of our buildings did it. We didn't have a PAX partner at the time, so we kind of did it on our own. But this year, he's going to be in. He actually has set things that we're going to teach every week already on the calendar, so the teachers know. So we're all focused as a district, really, because his is the same as mine. And teaching those strategies. Once they know the strategies, then the teachers can go ahead and play the game. And what that means is, I don't want people to think like the game is something different. It's during our educational time. So if I'm getting ready to teach a math lesson, I might say, okay, boys and girls, we're going to play the PAX Good Behavior game, and I'm going to set those expectations. You're not allowed to get out of your seat unless you are the group leader. You have to have all materials put away at the end. You go through your expectations. I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes and we're going to play the game. At the end of the timer, I'm going to see how many, they call them spleens, how many times you didn't do what I asked you to do. It's a competition between the students. Everybody who earned it then gets a reward at the end of that 10 minutes. And the reward's like 30 seconds. But it keeps the kids focused. And the idea, along with what he's going to talk to you about with Lucy Calkins, is it builds stamina in them. So I could play the game for 10 minutes now. Maybe by the end of the year, we could play it for 45 minutes, which means I'm focused and sustaining attention and doing what I'm supposed to do for 45 minutes. So the idea behind it is just building those social emotional skills, because they are research-based skills that we teach them, like sustained attention to task, or even if I'm going to earn a reward, they have to wait for it. It's not immediate. I have to be able to do something for an extended period of time in order to earn a reward. So that's our social emotional part and our wellness that we're talking about.
So another part that we obviously focused on, and I think it's safe to say it's a district-wide focus, is attendance. That is going to be a major focus this year. That's something that we've already started out fast and strong with communicating that to our parents, our students. We're talking about it in our buildings every day. Our teachers are talking about it in their classrooms, and just making that a major emphasis that none of this really matters unless you are there in order to receive it, practice it, and put it into place. So attendance is big. Goals for both buildings, and Washington does a really good job of meeting this goal, is 10% or better with chronic absenteeism. We want to be at 10% or less for the year. In doing so, how are we going to do that? We have a lot of attendance incentives in play this year, so some of those I'd like to share. We do a monthly reward per grade level, so it's a competition of which grade level can have the best attendance for the month. Whatever grade level that is, we'll receive a popcorn party or some type of incentive for being the team that does the best. So we do a lot of surprise attendance days throughout the year. So give you an example, tomorrow is our first surprise attendance day in the building. I know Washington does the same. We have pencils that we pass out. What's that? Well, they don't know. Only teachers know. Disregard it. Wow. Moving on. So beyond surprise attendance, we're really a lot with our RTI processes. The same thing goes for attendance. We're really trying to get to the root cause with our parents. We're working hard with them, students, and that's just going to be ongoing. We have our guidance counselors doing a lot of work with attendance, sharing some information out on social media, dojo, research, all those good things. Something else that we're going to do is really keep data in front of our parents and putting that out there on dojo so that they can see as a building where we're at. And again, really emphasizing teachers working with the students within the classroom and promoting the importance of attendance. So, we're striving for that 95%. We want every student to strive to be at school 95% or better for the school year. That's kind of our motto this year. So that's one of our big components, is the attendance piece. And academically speaking, reading is a big component for us, obviously. We have implemented Lucy Calkins. We're going to continue to do that. That's our Readers and Writers workshops, units of studies. And that's K through 6. We're emphasizing some vertical alignment at the K3 level in order to provide all students an equal opportunity for learning and reading and writing, obviously. We want to be able to provide students numerous strategies to implement into their own independent reading. So that's a major focus. Some goals that we have for this year through Lucy Calkins, and this is what we're working hard with, is building stamina as readers and writers. As writers, we want to have students be able to write at greater length and more in depth. Really and ultimately, we want to teach students to be more critical thinkers. So those are kind of our core components this year, that if you were to come into our building, to Washington, that's what you would see. So does anybody have any questions for us?
Sounds like an ambitious year.
That it is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've heard us talk about Success Bound, and again, that fits the new state strategic plan as well as some of the goals they've set for the districts. And we've started our plan last year working at the high school all the way down. But one of those important pieces to that is our partnership with our Business Advisory Council. So a lot of our manufacturers and our business partners in the community meet with us 4 times a year. We get great advice from them in terms of what do they need for employable students in the future. So we try to listen to what they're asking. They give us good advice, and then we try to implement some of the things in our Success Bound plan to help our students get onto that successful path. So Mr. Bostic is part of that as our board representative, and he's going to give an update on our first meeting that we had last week.
Yeah, I try to take notes as they go, but sometimes that gets tough. Do the best I can. One thing Scott talked about at the meeting was the Work Keys program, which is a credentialed graduation pathway. And it is very nice because the state is actually letting the high schools develop different pathways now to graduation, which opens up a whole new horizon for some students that are better in certain areas than others. The Work Keys program has 3 areas of testing that they do. They have applied math, graphic literacy, which is the most difficult, they said, and workplace documents. Our students have to earn 14 points over 3 different assessments to qualify for this. Now, when students qualify for one of the 4, they can try to qualify for one of 4 national career readiness levels. And the bronze level is if you get 3 on each assessment. Silver is if you get 4. Gold is if you get 5 on each, and platinum is if you get 6. And the various employers around the nation subscribe to this to, kind of screen their prospective employees. And so it gives our students a head start. I mean, they'll be coming out with some of these skills already in hand that they can go say, hey, I scored this on this. And, that helps them match up better with the jobs they may be looking for. They had 86 students took the Work Keys assessments. 63 students met the 13 and 14 point credentialing requirements. So that's really good for the first year. So we have some students that actually are getting credentials. The Success Bound courses, new ones that we're going to have this year, is going to be Human Body Systems, Human Anatomy and Physiology, Introduction to Healthcare, Engineering, which we'll be able to use more sensors and robotics to keep the students a little bit more engaged. And Success Bound has new resources for career exploration. And the last thing is Kathy Sherman with the Piqua City Chamber of Commerce is trying to organize a Piqua Manufacturing Day where our local businesses would meet. They would do a presentation day for students, parents, and really anybody I think that's interested. And, I think that would be a great idea if that thing really gets off the ground and they get it, because that way parents can come in and see. And what they're trying to do is just let students see what modern manufacturing looks like. I know when I was a kid, several years ago, very ancient, but I mean, factories were you didn't even sometimes want to walk in. You know, you could hardly take the heat and the conditions. Nowadays, they are totally different. So, you know, they're trying to really promote what it is like now. So there are students out there that I'm sure will fit some of those needs that they have. Because if you ever go down 75 or 70, several manufacturers have help wanted. So there are jobs. And so we've got the students, hopefully we can get them to those jobs. That's the goal.
Yeah, in the past, you know, schools in general will say this many kids are going to college, and they know because they've applied and they've gotten accepted. Same thing with these are going into the military. Nothing was really, you know, you just kind of say the rest of the kids are going into the workforce, but there was nothing really that proved that or said that. So we're really focusing on how do we get kids really ready for the workforce and how do they choose that path and prepare for it. So I think we're getting better with that and helping students really get onto that path if that's what they choose.
Right, and some of the students are actually working at some of the manufacturers
Absolutely.
now in our community, so that's awesome.
Any questions about the Business Advisory Council? Okay. At the first board meeting of the school year, we always give a staff update, so I'll let Mr. Lyons, who's been working really hard at that, to give an update.
We have many of our new staff members here this evening. They weren't able to, or you all weren't able to get together and have an introduction at our new teacher orientation in some cases. We have 24 new staff members this year that are with us. That doesn't include our new county units that we've added to both Spring Creek and in Washington Primary School. So with that, I think I just want to welcome all of the new staff members. You guys can put a face with a name, and they'll start out, and we'll start with Shane. We'll just come up and kind of go around this way, come up to the mic, introduce yourself, where you're working, and what you're doing.
Shane Minnick. I'm a behavior specialist aide at Washington Primary. I've actually volunteered with Piqua City Schools for the last 12 years, so I'm kind of excited this is a new opportunity with the building.
Hello, my name is Jamie Balmer, and I am the third grade Title I teacher at Washington.
Hello, my name is Nicole Doak, and I'm the kindergarten title position at Washington Primary. I'm very excited to have a positive impact on the Piqua City Schools and the community here.
Hello, my name is Rick Inman. I'm the second and third grade gifted intervention at Washington, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
I am Leslie Mosley, and I am the high school pre-AP biology and regular biology teacher. And I'm excited. One of my former students is teaching right next door to me. And I worked at Bethel for 9 years, teaching middle school science. And so far, I'm loving high school. Not that I didn't love middle school, but I'm loving high school. And I'm loving it here, and I'm really excited to see what this year is going to bring.
Hello, my name is Libby Carl, and I'm one of the new school counselors at Piqua High School. I'm really excited. It's been a really busy week. I'm learning a lot, and I'm looking forward to knowing everything that I'm supposed to be doing soon. Thank you. Hello, I'm Megan Wagner. I am at the junior high. I'm teaching 8th grade language arts. I've had a really great week, and I'm excited to see what Piqua has to offer.
Hi there, I'm Caitlin Brummett. I'm also going to be at the junior high teaching 8th grade English, and I'm so excited to be here at Piqua. My first week was a little rocky in some spots, but really good overall.
Hi, I'm Tabitha Brady. I teach English at the high school. I teach the 10th grade pre-AP English, and I teach 9th grade English block. It's also been kind of an interesting start, and I also look forward to figuring out everything I need to know.
Hi, my name is Wyatt Hines. I'm the new assistant band director. So I'm at the high school, and then I'm at 3 different periods throughout the day at the junior high, and then I'm 1 period at Central as well. So we started the marching band this summer, and it's been going for about 5 or 6 weeks now, and it's exciting to be finally in school, in classrooms.
Hi, I'm Tanya Foster. I interned last year at the junior high. This year I'm going to be at the high school as one of the new school counselors, and I've hit the ground running. And I just want you to know that I love it here. The district is great, the staff is great in both buildings, and the students are wonderful. So I'm excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Cecilia Belvo. I'm the new 6th grade language arts teacher at PCIS, and I'm extremely excited to be here, and I've had a great week as well.
Well, on behalf of the board, thank you all. Welcome to Piqua. We're glad to have you, and we wish you the best for this year. And if you don't want to stay for the rest of this exciting meeting, you guys can go home and you.
Who's going to be first? There we go. Who's going to be first? Thanks, everybody. Thank you. No, I can just tell you I've been able to see every one of them teaching at some point this week so far. And if they're having a rocky start, I can tell you they're disguising it very well. They're doing a great job out in the classrooms, and it's been fun to watch. So, and that's just a handful of them. Clearly, we've got more that have been at different meetings throughout the spring and summer. So, exciting. It's a lot of new folks, but it's fun to watch them get started with our kids. So,
You know, I went to that first day, the opening ceremony, and Tony did have me just give them a talk before they left. I just welcomed them for the board, excuse me, and I told them, I made sure to tell all of them, 4 of you work. I'm the old retired guy, so you guys weren't able to be there, but I welcomed them in your stead also. So I just wanted to put that out there. So it's an excited group, man. They left the stage and they said, "Oh, we're pumped up. We're ready to go." So it was awesome.
Thank you. A couple of additional points here. I've been meeting with an alumni group for the past year to get our Piqua Indian Alumni Nation off the ground, and we've got 2 exciting things getting ready to roll out here. I just encourage people out there that are watching this that if they're a Piqua alumni to get on the Piqua website at www.piqua.org and sign up for it. There's a link on there that says alumni. It's very easy. Our focus is not money. It has nothing to do with that. We want to develop a culture where we can unify our alumni and just be proud of the school district and the fact that we graduated from here. And we want to recognize alumni in a way that will inspire our future graduates. So we have some activities coming up at the big Piqua Sydney rivalry. We're going to have 3 events that weekend that are going to happen. It'll be our first kickoff for that. And then we have our bylaws just about done for what we call the Alumni of Distinction. And again, that will honor people that our students can look at and say, I want to be that when I grow up, or I want to be like that. So not so much just we're honoring people, but it has to be able to inspire our students. And we want to find a way to display that in all of our buildings. So kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, those kids can look at those graduates, those alumni people, and find out what they did that was so special and the path and the trials and accomplishments that they accomplished to get to that point. So we're excited about that, and that should be rolling out here pretty soon. So I encourage the public to look at that. Finally, it's with great sadness that I share that Sandy Jones passed away. Sandy was a longtime teacher and friend to our district. She retired a few years ago, and I don't think you would find anybody that wouldn't tell you that she had the biggest heart and the most love for her students. Her husband is a custodian still in our district, and our hearts and prayers certainly go to him and the rest of her family that I'm sure took this very, very hard, as well as our entire staff. So we just think about her and our family at this time. So that's it.
Okay, we'll move on to the superintendent's agenda.
Sure. I'd like to recommend board approval of the established bus routes and bus stops for the 2019-2020 school year as submitted. Recommend board approval of the attached request for the overnight field trip for the Piqua Junior High School 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip for the 1920 school year. That'll be in May, and that's the trip that we do each year. Recommend board approval of the attached list of technology equipment for disposal and removal from the inventory of the Piqua City School District. And as always, our technology department goes through good, and they miser all the things that we can reuse and keep our technology strong.
On the bus list, do they have where the bus can pick up kids out in front of the stadium this year? That became an issue last year at track season.
In front of?
you want to
Alexander Stadium.
Yes.
Yes, that is the shuttle bus.
Right, the shuttle
Yes.
bus, has it been approved to pick up there?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it in
not
there?
an actual
All right.
route.
I didn't know if that.
Yeah, that shuttle bus runs as needed for kids that are out there. So if kids are there and need it, it's available for them,
Okay,
yes.
that's what I.
But it won't actually be out on a route, so.
Okay, that's fine. I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's agenda.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Personnel agenda, Mr. Lyons.
Since we had so many personnel here tonight, the only thing I want to add here is, at the beginning of the year, it's always important to let our parents and community members know that there's a process for coming into our buildings for the purpose of safety and security of our students and staff. We do have the Raptor system in every building. If you're coming in to volunteer for the day, for a period, for a classroom, if you're a parent or a community member, you have to have an ID, which will be checked. You'll be given a badge that'll allow you to move throughout the building. So make sure you have IDs as you come through. If you're going to be chaperoning overnight trips or extended field trips, things like that, you have to come to the board office to be fingerprinted in order to be approved for those things. So just a reminder, because we have so many volunteers that like to come in, we want to make sure we don't ever have to turn anyone away, but that's the process that we'll use for the purpose of safety of our students and staff. So, outside of that, the last thing I wanted to mention here is a lot of personnel issues, things that are on there, but it's always nice to mention former students. And you see Taya Davis's name on there as a long-term sub. Taya went to school, to college for biology, and ultimately is now working toward the alternative educator licensure pathway. So we were able to get her into a classroom for an extended period of time to get some experience. So we're looking forward to that too. So any questions about the personnel agenda?
Okay, if there's no other questions, do we have a motion to approve the personnel agenda? Got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda's approved. And I have nothing on any old business for tonight. New business?
Yes, we have 3 adjacent properties to the old Favorite Hill property on 950 South Street that we would like to sell. If we could bring up the images, I can show you what those look like. So, Jeremy, would you mind dimming the lights? Thanks. So the big spot right in the middle is, this is where the old Favorite Hill building was located, and many people didn't know that, Forest Street runs here, but this area along this alleyway and this area right here were all part of that property as well. And currently, we're maintaining it, we're mowing the grass and making sure that the property is just well maintained. We don't feel like this linear property is going to impact the sale of this eventually when we can work with the city to do something with that. So we just think it would be to our advantage to sell these 3 lots. They are in 3 separate locations. The one on Ellerman, which is located right here, and again, Ford Street would be over here somewhere, is in that location. That is 0.67 acres. And then the Grant Street lot, which is right here is Grant Street, and then this is Ford. And if you crossed, again, if Favorite Hill would have been over here, that one is 0.313 acres. And then over off of Ford Street, right here before the alleyway, is 0.5 acre lot off of Ford. So we would like to have you consider selling those so we don't have to continue to maintain them and mow them and keep it going. We don't feel like those add much to having the other Favorite Hill lot being sold later for something that would be useful in that area.
Is that first parcel that it looks like a driveway or something through there, is that?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a house back here, there's a drive there, and there's a drive over here off of Ellerman too. I don't know if it shows, so it would be like right down in here. There's a hill here that goes down and up, and then there's a drive right here that goes up there as well. So I'm not sure if there's an easement there. We could check on that to make sure. It's been there as long as I can remember. I went to Favorite Hill when I was a youngster, kindergarten through 6th grade, and I've played in that area actually. So that driveway's been there as long as I can remember. So Jeremy will talk a little bit about what the process will look like and how that will flow, and then we can answer any questions that you might have.
So tonight we're asking you to basically authorize the disposal of the property because there's no longer a purpose for Piqua City Schools to own that property. Then we'll publish a legal notice, and then 30 days before the auction date. In that 30 days, we'll work on the conditions of the sale and work that out with anyone who's interested in purchasing the property, but also we can set minimums and do those kind of things that we need to do in that 30-day time frame. Then we'll conduct the auction. The highest bidder for each tract will sign a real estate purchase offer, and then that offer will be presented to the board for approval after that time. And then the closing will be held, and a quit claim deed will be also conveyed at that point in time. So that's just sort of the process for how we're going to.
What kind of a timeline
Go
do you
through that.
anticipate on that?
So it can be 30 days from probably sometime next week that we can start that process. So
Who's going to auction?
I'll do it. It doesn't have to be anyone specific. It's not a.
Land's all been appraised, so we would use that as the
Yes.
minimum price.
We don't legally don't have to pay an auctioneer to do that, so there's really no purpose in wasting money.
Do we have any controls we can put on the property once we sell it?
No.
It says in any conditions related to the sale that we want to attach to it. Now, I know what Frank will say is that, and this is the truth, is that when you attach those, then you may limit the buyers that come to it, and then it's hard to enforce after the sale's over, but you can add restrictions to it if you want to do so.
Are there any other
I don't
questions?
know, what else do you?
What restrictions would you want?
I don't know, it's just,
Yeah.
I know the neighborhood in the past, we've talked about, selling properties. They want it, whatever we sell, they want it to fit into the neighborhood.
Well, I think we can always go to the city and have it zoned residential if you want to do that before the sale. That would be one way.
It actually is.
It is zoned
It's all
residential.
part of the
Those three
appraisal.
parcels are.
There's not much acreage. I mean, you're either going to put a house or you're going to keep the land. There's not much you can do there.
It's not a big parcel.
No.
Well, I think, Jeremy, what you said about, the conditions afterwards could become a headache too. I mean, on the
We
long
really
run.
couldn't enforce
Yeah, we
them.
couldn't. So, maybe it's restricting somebody buying it.
Well, if it's zoned residential, that
Mhm.
solves that issue.
I mean, they're going to have to conform to the city requirements. It's not like they can just slap a shanty up there. I mean, they're just going to have to be.
Any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion to adopt the resolution to authorize the sale of the property?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're now a real estate agent.
And an auctioneer.
And an auctioneer.
Hey, what we got to do.
Okay, and I have, any other new business?
No.
I have nothing on here in the public for non-agenda items. Our next regular meeting is September 26th at 6 p.m. here. We do need a motion to go into executive session, and there will be no action taken when we move out. So do we have a motion for executive session?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we will take no action coming out. Okay, thank you all, and good luck with some of your gifts.